times like this where you think to yourself, how many brawls have I seen? 1 brawl? 2 brawls? No brawls? Does it even matter? Because if I can put the warrior down to 4 health, who cares if he's got a brawl? I mean, that's half a turn, right? In a situation like this, I've still got Blessing of Kings, I've got Ragnaros the Lightlord, I have a Primordial Drake, I have all the options and all the time in the world, so sometimes putting the warrior on a clock is the right play, even though Sunkeeper Tarim is best used, I think, to control the board itself, to control enemy minions that are on there, and to eliminate them. But in this situation, the interaction between Tarim and the Murloc War Leader actually buffed my Murlocs even more. That's critical. And a 6/9 taunt, well, it's not going to do anything. And we can even play Ragnaros the Lightlord, just because we can, for no other reason. So, mid-range Murloc Paladin, certainly a deck that can take you to Legend if you're willing to invest the time, and yes, some of the games do take a little bit longer than you'd like, because it's a mid-range deck. It's not a pure aggro deck. So, let's break the deck down. You've got the early Murloc package, Vilefin Inquisitor, Hydrologist, Rockpool Hunter, Murloc War Leader. There's also a Finger in the deck. So ideally you get the early curve going, Vilefin Inquisitor on turn 1. Well, you hope to get the early curve. Sadly, that doesn't always happen with this deck. More on that later. Once you get the early game going with the Murlocs, you then move into the mid-game with your Fingers and your Stampeding Kodos and your True Silver Champions to take down enemy minions, and then the late game with Curator to refill that hand, Primordial Drake to clear the board with the 2 damage AoE, Ragnaros the Lightlord for some extra healing if you need it, and Tyrion. MVP, though, of the deck would have to be the Stonehill Defender. That's right, Stonehill Defender has a very good chance of drawing you another class-specific legendary, or taunt, I should say. Class-specific taunt, which could be a Tyrion, or it could be a Sunkeeper Tarim. And what I often like doing is playing the Tyrion that came out of my deck naturally, playing that first. They kill it and they think it's fine, and they even play an ooze and get rid of the weapon, and then you play the Tyrion that's come out of the Stonehill Defender. That's pretty insane. Spikeridge Steed is another amazing card in this deck, and it's really good against aggro. If you play this on any minion in this deck, it buffs that minion up substantially in terms of health, and it's a real chore for an aggro deck to get through it. And of course, once they do get through it, well, there's a 2/6 taunt that arrives on the board that they've also got to get through. So this deck can do really well against aggro, it can also go the distance against control, and it can combat mid-range. It's a good all-round deck. Let's have a look at it in action on the ladder. So we're going up against a warrior here, Vilefin Inquisitor is in hand, and I'm actually keeping this hand. See, one of the problems I've had with the deck, I said it was a good all-round deck, but one of the problems I've had is early game, or getting it, or not getting it, I should say, and ending up with Tyrion or Rag Lightlord in my opening hand, and against a mid-range or an aggressive class, you've got no real comeback. You just end up dying, basically. There is one copy of Equality in this deck to get you out of those kind of situations, but because there's only one Equality, I tend to find that Equality and Consecration don't end up in my hand at the same time. And that is annoying. I've just lost value. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why Dirty Rat gets played in Taunt Warrior. You play the rat to negate value on cards that are in your opponent's hand. You draw them out onto the field and they don't get their battle cry effect, for example, or their buff effect. But in this situation, he messed up He messed up. He was just thinking, ah, yeah, I'll bring out a Murloc, who cares? I'll brawl the board away at some point. Yeah, but before you're going to be brawling this board away, Ragnaros Lightlord is going to do some work. The question is, yeah, I want to maximize the damage here that Rag can do, going 8 to the face. I also want to protect Ragnaros Lightlord from Execute, which is why I didn't use him to trade. I want to keep Ragnaros Lightlord healthy. Question time. Do I play the hero power or the war leader? No, we play the hero power. Hey, live insect. And this is a board. This is a board. How do you deal with Ragnaros the Lightlord? Slam execute, whirlwind execute, and what do you have? Oh, you have a whirlwind. Sure. Interesting. Well, here's the problem. I have a ridiculous amount of pressure here. And we've even got double consecration in hand. That's 4 damage. We have another war leader in hand. That's going to buff up those Murlocs. So, brawl or bust. I don't even know if brawl helps. Shield Slam! Wow! Taunt Warrior playing Shield Slam. And bless him, he thinks that he can win. He hasn't conceded yet. Oh look, hello. In 6 turns, it was over. And that made me feel good. Made me feel like an aggro deck. And it was all down to Ragnaros the Lightlord coming down to that board because of Dirty Rat. So, you've got to ask yourself the question, is Dirty Rat worth playing? And my answer to that question is probably not. Probably not, because of the risk factor. It's a bit like Deathlord, isn't it? Deathlord can bring out some nasty minions from your opponent's deck, put them on the field, and you can't deal with them. Dirty Rat, played against the wrong deck, can do exactly the same. Played against an aggro deck, however, it can be quite good. It can bring out a 1-cost minion that doesn't do very much, and then you've got a 2/6 taunt on the board that absorbs all of the hits from minions on the board. But for me, I see it as being too risky. That's my valuation of Dirty Rat. I know that people play it in Taunt Warrior, and there are even Paladin decks that play it. So this mid-range Murloc Paladin, I like it a lot. I really do. But I'd only advise this deck for players that are lucky. That's players who are skilled at the game and know how to draw a 1-drop into a 2-drop into a 3-drop and get a curve going. I'm not one of those players. Sometimes I get the 1-drop, you know, you've seen it in this video. Sometimes I get it, and it's fine. And then I get a 2-drop and I'm like, yay. Sometimes I just draw a hand that consists of a Megasaur, a Finja, a Ragnaros Lightlord, and a Tyrion, and there's nothing I can do till turn 4. And against aggro, by that point, pressing the hero power button every turn just isn't enough. You're just dead. So you've got to be lucky enough to get a curve, and if you are lucky enough to get a curve, this deck is unstoppable and chock full of value. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a shorter video than usual, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon for more Hearthstone action.